Finally, after months, I have managed to review every single episode of Roswell Conspiracies. And after all that effort, what do I have to show for it? This ranking video, the conclusion to my attempts to create content for Roswell Conspiracies, however low quality it may be. Of course, I might make a few more videos. Rineker deserves no less, but content creation isn't exactly my passion. I don't particularly enjoy voicing and editing both my audio and video, although I do like writing scripts. I do it because no one else is talking about Roswell Conspiracies extensively. It is a seriously great animated series with some of the best writing I have ever seen. I feel it's my duty to at least create content that Roswell Conspiracy fans will enjoy, and this video is the culmination of it all. A definitive ranking of every episode from Roswell Conspiracies. First, let me go over the rules. I will be ranking these episodes as objective as possible. What I mean by this is that I will be mostly evaluating these episodes on their plot and writing. So, for example, if I like vampires over lycanthropes, I'm not going to rank an episode higher just because of my personal preference of vampires. Of course, it is my opinion on whether or not an episode's writing is good, and your interpretation could be different. Second, I will be ranking two-part episodes separately. I know that together, 2 episodes make one story, but I think it's unfair that most episodes get 20 minutes to tell their story, while 2-parters get double that time. Also, on the off chance that you watched my previous review videos, this ranking is not based on the ratings I gave to those episodes at the time. My opinions have changed, and comparing episodes to one another makes more of an episode's positive or negative aspects apparent. Finally, I will be taking into account an episode's impact on the series as a whole. I'm not just looking at an episode's quality in a vacuum. So there could be instances where there's a mediocre episode, but because its impact on the series as a whole is huge, I rank it higher. I will be rating these episodes from worst to best. So now on to the ranking. Now, this was an obvious choice for the worst episode. It is a literal clip show. I won't go over this episode too much because it's self-explanatory. It reuses clips from older episodes and glues it together sloppily with narrative. Being a clip show is one thing, but being a clip show that is essential for viewing is just criminal. I mean, more overarching plot developments happen in this clip show than in almost every other episode. Nick is framed for being a mole, and Rineker imprisons him. Huge, I know, and that's what makes it so frustrating. You have to watch it to understand the episode right after it, and what you watch is essentially 15 minutes of reused clips. I think it's pretty disappointing that an episode at the tail end of the series is literally the second worst episode. It's weird because the last 10 episodes of Roswell Conspiracies is usually just banger after banger. We've got the Vodun, Cherik, the Shadowan, but this episode sticks out as being the only episode other than Third Degree that I consider mediocre. This episode is what people who have never seen Roswell Conspiracies expect it to be. Generic and uncreative alien/mythological creature that fails to utilize the boundless mythology of its source material with a plot that doesn't challenge the viewer's morals and perspectives. Basically, this episode doesn't have anything of value. Loki and Odin are nothing like their mythological counterparts. Their motivations are just to cause chaos, making them uninteresting, and their frost giant is just a big worm. Honestly, this is probably the only episode I'd recommend skipping. It's just a generic kids show episode which Roswell Conspiracies is so high above. Yes, the first episode of the series is at the bottom of this ranking. Honestly, it's a good thing because it shows just how far the series has grown over time. There really isn't anything wrong with this episode. Of course, being the first episode, it's very basic. There are only two brief instances of aliens. Both the lycanthropes and the banshees lack any of their lore and world building. So at least in this episode, they feel like generic antagonists. Also, the plot is just about Nick slowly learning about the Alliance and aliens. Even at the end of the episode, you aren't left with much information. I do think it's a good introduction. We learn about the essentials of Roswell Conspiracies, but it just lacks the truly amazing writing that a lot of other episodes possess. This episode is the first introduction to the vampires, but unfortunately, they only appear at the end of the episode. There are quite a few problems with this episode. First, there's this botched twist of Lobo just being evil and working with the terrorists. This removes what would otherwise be a great message to contribute to the series' overarching idea that no matter the alien race, there should be no divide, and that every alien is capable of good and evil. If Lobo was actually genuine, it would have built this message up from the start. I'm not saying Lobo should have become a core member of the series, but what I am saying is that he shouldn't have been such a cartoonishly evil character. Then there's the plot. It's quite convoluted, with this vampire hiring lycanthropes to take over a country club, which would somehow allow him to launch missiles right into Silicon Valley. This vampire only appears for a brief period towards the end. They should have given him more screen time considering the fact that he is the main antagonist of the episode. There are also minor moments that further add to the sloppy execution of this episode, like how there is sunlight several hundred feet underground. Backspin is an episode that had a lot of potential, but unfortunately it doesn't deliver. You see, the whole plot centers around alien conspiracy theorists setting up camp in the Alliance's backyard, and Nick, Shalane, and all the others have to figure out how to get rid of them, while still maintaining the secret of the Alliance. This concept alone should make for an intriguing episode, but instead the execution is rather poor. Firstly, the mind-wiping machines that starts the episode plays such a small role that you would wonder why it was even a plot device in the first place. Then, when the conspiracy theories come, we don't spend the episode witnessing the boundless potential of Alliance agents interacting with these people, but instead we watch as some lycanthrope agent and Carl McGavin sneak into the Alliance base to pinpoint its location for the other aliens. This is an episode with lots of potential, but squanders in execution. I really don't like how out of character Shalane is in this episode. She willingly goes with the Banshee to become queen. She chains Nick up in her throne room and acts all high and mighty. She is even more than ready to attack the Alliance after assuming they were the ones to kidnap Mob. The episode itself is fine. It ranks higher than the previous episodes because of the high action with fight with a vampire in Paris, Then with a pack of lycanthropes followed by a battle with some illegal antique meatheads. Thematically, it's effective. Shalane being unable to fit in with the humans and being seen by aliens as a traitor is actually a really well done plotline. However, this still does not excuse how she so readily accepts the Banshee crown and pretends as if Nick is beneath her. It's just such a bad characterization that it single-handedly brings the entire episode down. This episode is about giant ants mutated with alien DNA. It's an episode that's full of action and even some heart, with Nick seeing himself in a kid whose father was kidnapped by the ants. The ant hybrid designs are really cool, and the ant queen at the end was just the right amount of epic. It's an episode that lacks a lot of substance, even though the twist does explain why Rineker knew so much about the ant-alien hybrids. It still makes up for it with solid action scenes. I didn't really like this episode upon first viewing, and admittedly it's far from the best episode. But upon subsequent watches, I found myself appreciating the message of the episode. Nick is blinded by vengeance as he believes a sunspot creature was responsible for his stepfather's death, when in reality the creature was simple-minded and never intended to cause harm. It might be a generic message that vengeance is bad, but remember, this ties in perfectly with the overarching message of the series, that there should be unity among aliens, and differences should be embraced instead of assimilated. This idea that Nick is so consumed by his own hatred of an alien is still a relevant message to this day. Whatever fits has got to be the funniest episode in this entire series. There are just some genuinely great lines here. If that's so, why did I rank this episode so low? It's simple really. Roswell Conspiracies isn't exactly a comedy show. Not to say this show isn't funny, but just that the main appeal of it is its dark and complex writing. There isn't anything particularly wrong with this episode, only that part of me wonders what this episode could have been if it were more serious. The Oni are a really cool type of alien, while in this episode they're treated like jokes. That first scene where the Oni eats the Yakuza boss is probably the closest thing we got to the Oni being a serious threat. Overall, it's enjoyable, but I can't help but feel it had some missed potential. It's quite surprising that the second part of the pilot is much higher than part 1, but I suppose it's because it has got some better aspects. It's much higher than part 1, but I suppose it's because it's got some of the best aspects of Roswell Conspiracies within it. We've got some edge and dark moments like Rineker, who for the first episode was just trying to recruit Nick, now wants him dead. He literally launches an airstrike and nearly kills Nick and Shalane. We've got epic character moments, like when Nick crashes an Alliance vehicle into the base, and he walks in demanding them help save Shalane. We even have the Banshee faction being fully fleshed out. The action is solid, but of course it still is quite a basic episode with none of the nuances and creative writing a lot of other episodes have. But it is basically the pilot, and it's unrealistic to expect anything more. This episode proves why Roswell Conspiracies is exceptional. Here we could have had a generic episode about aliens that are Yeti and some half-baked story about them having to hide in the Himalayas. Instead, we get an intriguing reveal that the Yeti are actually protecting a doomsday weapon from the lycanthropes who want to use it to enslave humanity. The lycanthropes even team up with the Alliance to find it. For an early episode, it already establishes the flaws in the Alliance, the rich history of the lycanthropes and the Yeti, and the EMP bomb that would become so important much later. For that, this episode is good and deserving of 30th spot. This officially marks the end of mediocre episodes. From now on, every episode is good, having little to no flaws, and now it's a race of which episodes have the better qualities. The second part of Queen Banshee is a huge improvement from part 1, and it's for one huge reason. This is the vampire's first major storyline. Before this episode, vampires appear occasionally, but not in particularly large roles. But here they create this elaborate plan of kidnapping Mob, then framing the Alliance so the Banshees and Alliance would destroy one another. This episode still suffers from an out-of-character Shalane. About halfway through the episode, Shalane gives up on her plans of attacking the Alliance, instead putting all her effort in stopping the vampires from destroying the Banshee's source of life. This episode is good because of its consistent action and nice introduction to the vampires, a faction that directly contrasts the Banshee. Snowman's Chance is like Mountain Retreat but better. It's got a variety of locations from old abandoned factories to an oil rig. It continues and expands the plot of the lycanthropes, Yeti and EMP bomb. This time, the bomb is accidentally activated and only Tayet can defuse it, creating way more stakes than in Mountain Retreat. It's also in this episode where Tayet becomes a full-time agent. I put this episode here because it's an effective improvement from Mountain Retreat, itself a good episode. Vampires are definitely my favorite alien, apart from the Shadoan, but that won't stop me from giving each episode a fair ranking. To be honest, I might have enjoyed this episode a little more than the two preceding entries, but those two deserve higher spots than this one for reasons I will get to later. But for now, The Partnership is a cool mafia family style episode with an alien twist. Fitz has an old lover which creates emotional stakes and shines a light into the Alliance lifestyle of solitude. The vampire families that are trying to unite crank up the stakes quite a bit, as even lone vampires have shown to be dangerous adversaries. It's a solid episode with lots of great moments, but nothing exceptional from a writing standpoint. Crackerjack is an episode with heavy action, but also some heart. We get to see Chelf, the Golem, fight hordes of lycanthrope, and we get an ending battle with Ruck. Another thing I like about this episode is Nick intentionally getting himself captured to save Athos, and this is only revealed towards the end of the episode. It's satisfying too, as Shalane was running around trying to find out what happened to Nick. The entire mission was also not approved by the Alliance, meaning there was no backup or extra firepower, increasing the stakes. We get a satisfying conclusion to Athos' story. He strikes out on his own, not joining any faction, neither Conduit or Alliance. While by no means the darkest episode, the Cup still has its moments, like the Alliance showing its true colors by bombing a lycanthrope hospital, or the Alliance kidnapping Athos, the baby lycanthrope Nick and Shalane saved from the hospital bombing. This episode is really good because we see Nick bonding with Athos, the relationship he wished he had with his real father. It's all the more terrible when the Alliance cruelly kidnaps Athos and runs experiments on him. This episode is once again an example of the Alliance's morally questionable acts. The plot is also really satisfying, with Rock swearing vengeance on Nick and the Alliance, ironically almost killing his own son in the process. But in the end, he is returned, and we at least get the promise of Athos being raised without hate in his heart. This one ranks higher than Crackerjack because I honestly think this episode does Athos and Ruck better than there. Ruck's wrath and revenge is far more interesting than him trying to use Athos to infiltrate the Alliance. This episode has an intriguing plot. What if one of the Alliance's attempts at fabricating alien activity ended up having them needing to infiltrate Area 51? It sounds so cool, right? And it is, for the most part. This episode seems to be one that would be ranked much higher than 24th place, but that's because of its chronic lack of aliens. I can't put it any higher. For an episode about Area 51, you'd expect a lot of extraterrestrials, but no, Nick, Shalane, Fitz, and Nima almost only interact with normal humans. Don't get me wrong, it's a good episode that leaves you with many questions, but it could have been so much better. Bounty War isn't this high for its writing or disturbing moments. It's simply for being an action-packed episode with really cool antagonists. This is a very entertaining episode from start to end, but you won't be getting much substance from it, and that's okay, because its goal is just to be enjoyable. Firstly, the Minotauri designs are just awesome. They have your standard Minotaur physique and fur, but with high-tech battle armor and weapons they used to fly on. This episode also elevates Nick, making him a much cooler and formidable protagonist, as he defeated one of the Minotauri all by himself, when the entire Banshee race struggled to entrap both. Countdown is another one of those episodes where the animation and the writing are both balanced and done really well, but at the same time nothing special comes out of it. This is ranked higher because of this episode being solid in both action and writing, while previously ranked episodes usually only had done one of those well. We learn why banshees can't be separated from nature for too long, as the Iron Death Curse, which is a really cool tool for body horror. I like how there's ticking doomsday clock with the idea that within 24 hours everyone in the bunker would die, and the subversion that the person who predicted their deaths would be the one to cause it. The mysterious alien ship Riniker brought in and the vision Shalene had after touching the ship enhances the world building. And this moment in the episode itself, as the finale, can be used to explain this moment. A solid episode that is unfortunately outclassed by episodes that can do the exceptional. Now Troubled Past has a cool alien android that helps fulfill this episode's goal of being action-packed. Its writing is nothing special. This episode alone is as good as Bounty Wars, but there's a very distinct reason why this episode is much higher. The deeper implications the finale of this series gives. You see, in the episode, Nick is led to believe by Riniker that the android is after him. So the audience spends the entire episode worrying about Nick, but the twist at the end reveals that the android was actually after Riniker. Of course, Riniker reasons this away, and this moment is never brought up again. However, knowing what we know now that Riniker is a Shadoan, it explains why the android was after him. In my opinion, it was built by the Tribunal to destroy Shadoan. But whatever your theory, this revelation automatically enhances this episode. We're at the halfway point, and the episode right in the middle of this ranking is the Roswell incident. This episode is the transition from good episodes to that of episodes that are good in general, but have moments or traits that are great. In the case of this episode, it's a race against NASA and Intracom to get an alien satellite first. That is already an intriguing plot, and the episode is consistently entertaining. But what sets it apart from all the previous episodes is this one great moment at the start. It's revealed that the Roswell incident was fabricated by the founders of the Alliance to draw attention away from the truth that aliens have come to Earth thousands of years ago. People, both rational and conspiracy theorists, would be focusing on a complete lie and not the truth. This single moment marks one of the many times the Alliance has used reverse psychology. A moment like this is something you would never expect from a kids show, even in real life. If the government really wanted to hide aliens using reverse psychology, wouldn't that be the most effective way to do it? The Conduit Parts 1 and 2 is a huge catalyst to many of the plots of Roswell Conspiracies. By themselves, they deliver a story with many twists and turns, but most of these revelations are in Part 2 of The Conduit. So how does The Conduit Part 1 hold up on its own? Pretty good, actually. It does a solid job at setting up its main theme, how the Alliance's actions are morally questionable. We see the first instances of the Alliance's fascistic tendencies, with them mercilessly attacking a safe house where refugee aliens live. Tackling such a dark topic where our protagonist's faction is committing a heinous act, forcing the viewers to question them, is what makes this episode exceptional. This episode has a unique type of alien, and the plot in general subverts what is usual in Roswell Conspiracies. In most episodes, an alien is causing problems, whether intentional or unintentionally. But here the chupacabra is revealed to be good and never desired harming anyone. I really like how this episode doesn't fall into a preachy environmental message. Even when Shalane mentions the environment, Nick seems more annoyed than eager. The aspects that are great in this episode is the beginning. In it, a man attacks a conduit safe house, then poisons a vampire, turning him into a chupacabra. The obvious implication after fully viewing the series is the man who was masquerading as Walter Logan and the one whose blood was toxic was in fact Rineker, which definitely enhances the episode. It helps that the vampire's transformation is positively horrifying. Now we get to an all-time classic episode. It's dark, it builds on the culture that the alien is based on. The Vodun are one of the coolest aliens, that's kind of crazy considering that the modern interpretation of zombies is one of the lamest and overdone monsters. I just like the idea of alien slugs that go through the mountains of the dead to control the body. And yes, it's as disturbing as it sounds. It's great because of the truly disturbing depths this episode is willing to go to. The Vodun might seem like monsters, but Baron Samedi is only looking out for the betterment of his species. When a Vodun is killed, he is visibly pained, and that makes him more than a two-dimensional villain. Rain is the only episode that focuses on True Blood, one of the coolest but honestly underutilized characters. This episode introduces aliens on a completely different plane of reality, which is unique. True Blood having to choose between the Alliance and his tribe is a very interesting conflict, especially after the Alliance has been doing worse and worse things to aliens. This time, kidnapping a family of Pans and separating them. The fact that this entire episode is a critique of the Alliance makes it really great, and True Blood deciding to stay in the Alliance to find the great evil is a nice way to end the episode. This episode has one of the coolest villains in this entire show. Sathaka, the winged 4,000-year-old vampire, really carries this episode. His plot to wait thousands of years until humanity is technologically advanced enough for him to enslave them with our satellites is a unique world-conquering scenario. His Sphinx provides epic action scenes, and his existence spurs greater questions of the history of vampires. Beast Within is an episode about Ling, who had only been a minor character, a familiar face in the Alliance, nothing more, kind of like what Dorian is. This episode gives him character. He gets infected by a Vodun called Babel, and somehow they form a symbiotic relationship. Not only is that just plain cool, but it also feeds into the message the entire series is trying to convey, of how aliens and humans should unify and celebrate one another's differences. It's also cool how Ling now has enhanced reflexes and strength because of Babel. This episode is our formal introduction to the tribunal, or at least one of its members, Prometheus, which is what I will be referring to him as. The idea of a peaceful alien who just wants to share important knowledge to humanity, while the Alliance does everything in their power to stop them, really makes the Alliance out as the villains. Of course, Riniker has a rationale for why Prometheus shouldn't share his alien knowledge. What this episode does great are two things. First, it flips the roles of protagonists and antagonists on its head, causing the viewer to question the Alliance's morals. Second, it's the entire scene where the Alliance reveals their insane plan to explain the events at the start of the episode. It involves misdirection, reverse psychology, and politics. Trust me, it's so intelligent. A mock vampire has an idea only Roswell Conspiracies has. What if a vampire merged her DNA with that of a banshee? No other show could pull off a plot as crazy as this and make it work. And for its creativity, it's awarded the 12th spot. Nick's responsibility starts a series of events eventually leading to Valera, a rogue vampire, becoming all-powerful and nearly destroying the vampire empire. Great moments include the Alliance and the vampires teaming up and Shalene temporarily losing herself, but then breaking free from the vampire venom. A cool but subtle moment is when Hanek's face is scarred by sunlight, and that injury becomes a permanent part of his face. The showdown arc happens just after a mock vampire and is also about vampires. It upscales everything from that episode and adds more. This time Hanek has lured Nick to his base, then plays with his life by creating scenarios of near death for him. This is ultimately to trigger Shalene to bring the entire Banshee army right to his doorstep. And guess what? He wants to use them to power his teleportation device. That is just the kind of elaborate plan that Roswell Conspiracies is known for. It's really cool that the entire plot of the episode was just a fabrication to get Shalene to bring a power source right to his doorstep. This episode is action-packed with deadly traps and many vampire fights. Now we're down to the top 10. These episodes are great through and through. It doesn't just have one moment of greatness. Instead, it's the whole entire thing. Yeah, these two episodes are right next to each other. It's just that both are so similar. But Showdown Part 2 just has more going for it. We get a full-scale war with the Banshee and Vampire. Kanmort, the Minotauri bounty hunter, is back. And even the Alliance is forced to enter the battle. So much cool stuff happens over the course of 20 minutes. Hanek seemingly kills Nick's stepfather, but it is satisfying to see Hanek get destroyed by his own machine. Kanmort also trying to settle his score with Nick Logan was cool. I didn't really like this episode on my first viewing. I think it was because I had a bias against the depiction Roswell Conspiracies had of the Yeti. But after subsequent viewings, I realized that the writing in this episode is really amazing. For example, this episode tackles racism in a complex way. The lycanthropes enslaved both the Yeti and the Sasquatch, but at the same time, the Yeti viewed the Sasquatch as inferior to them. This is a pretty nice way to show that race is ultimately unimportant and illogical, as both the viewers and lycanthropes wonder why the Yeti hate the Sasquatch so much. The plot is pretty dark as we have this delusional Sasquatch, the last of its kind, trying to get revenge on Tayet, only to realize that he was the reason his species was killed, and being unable to deal with the guilt, he kills himself. Suak's delusions make this episode really great, as he cannot live with the guilt of his species dying at his hands, and instead pushes all the blame onto Tayet. It's an incredibly dark yet very human episode. The idea of the Voodoo, one of the conceptually coolest aliens, entering and taking over most of the Alliance, is a pretty nice plot. We get these huge stakes and impossible odds. In this episode, but what really sells this episode to me is Ling and Babel's relationship. It's expanded. Babel knows he has a commitment to his people, the Voodoo, but he also knows that humans and Voodoo can live together in harmony. Not only does this episode get me to care about both Ling and Babel, but this message of unity ties into the general theme of the series nicely. It's a bittersweet ending as Baron Samedi is killed, but so is Babel and most of the Voodoo. Conduit Part 2 is an easy top 10 for many reasons. The reverse psychology, having seen an alien conspiracy theorist turn out to be a former Alliance agent, which itself was a lie as he was actually Shadoan. That twist just hits differently, especially when it works with the theme of the episode, that both aliens and humans are capable of good and evil. It's so epic seeing Nick and C do an all-out assault on the Alliance. But what really makes this episode earn its spot as 7th best is how Roswell Conspiracies' twist impacts the scene with Seed and Rineker. You see, when you realize Rineker is a Shadoan himself, Seed's offhand comments like, "I know the way he thinks," or how Rineker knows a little too much about Shadoan biology, and even the sheer irony that there was in fact two monsters in the room with Nick. The deeper implications on this series that are created from the twist stem from this episode. From the way the episode tries to intentionally parody Superman, you'd think the episode would be more comedically inclined, but no, it depicts Jarek in an earnest and respectful way. This episode is also where the role of hero and villain is flipped. The Alliance are trying to destroy a hero who only wants to help and warn humanity of an imminent Shadoan invasion. It's an enjoyable episode through and through. The nice twist at the end, where Jarek was actually a hideous-looking alien rather than a conventionally attractive-looking man, is a great addition to an already great episode. This episode has a really cool interpretation of the Cyclops, the idea of liquid metal robots with a single laser eye that are also immune to damage, make them great threats against the Alliance, especially because they plan to use an energy cannon that would destroy nearby islands in Greece. What makes this episode great is the sheer scale. The Cyclops and the Alliance are in endless combat, and that final battle with the energy dome is just epic. But the moments where Rineker gets nervous and scared at the risk of the Shadowan invasion being stopped puts this above Target Hero. This is perhaps the most significant episode indirectly involving Rineker or the Shadowan. Conspiracy Revealed is the moment where Nick finds his real father, Walter Logan, and that is a huge moment. This moment has been building up since episode 1, and finally seeing Nick find and unite with his father makes this one of the single greatest moments in the series. The episode brings back many old enemies for Nick and Walter to fight, like the ant-alien hybrids, which makes this episode really great. What makes this episode really great is that the Alliance cracks are starting to show. It's explicitly shown to be evil and an antagonistic force. Nick gets imprisoned, Shalane goes rogue, and True Blood defies Rineker. Despite being called Conspiracy Revealed, not everything is explained. Instead, some moments like the actual Rineker skeleton being found in Area 51 would pay off in the subsequent episode. This episode comes right after the greatest twist in fiction, and this is where we get to learn the Shadowan's entire plan for Earth, which is horrifying. Rineker, who is revealed to be a Shadowan all along, still has to face adversity in the form of his commanding officer, Keel. Rineker tricking Keel into getting killed shows his ruthlessness and intelligence. This episode really makes you feel the insurmountable odds stacked against the Alliance. Now there are whole armies, but what's so satisfying with this episode is its inclusion of so many characters like Jerick, Ruck, Mob, and many more. These characters sometimes sacrifice themselves to stop Shadowan, making for really emotional send-offs. But you can tell from this episode is that Walter Logan has an elaborate plan brewing, one that would even fool the puppet master himself. Numbered Days Part 2 is much better than Part 1 because first, it brings the entire series to a satisfying conclusion. The Shadowan and Rineker are defeated and the aliens are united. But there is also much more than just that. We've got this elaborate plan created by Walter Logan. It involves every trick Rineker himself used to hide the truth, misdirection, playing an angle, and of course, reverse psychology. But once it's executed, and Rineker falls for it, it's beyond satisfying. We get epic standoffs like Ruck and Nick's stepfather, Nathan Boyer, overheating their energy cannon just to take out the moon, destroying Laser. There are so many epic moments that would make the average Roswell Conspiracies fan squeal. In the end, Numbered Days Part 2 is easily the second best episode. The finale might have had more action, more characters came back for the final fight, but literally nothing beats confrontation, and it's for one major reason: the reveal that Rineker is actually a Shadowan. You can only understand the shock and genius of this moment if you've watched Roswell Conspiracies. This twist has been building up since the very first episode. Many hints and unexplainable moments all build up to this single reveal. This also makes for a grandiose plan. Riniker's entire goal was trying to systematically divide all the alien factions, then imprison or kill them so that Earth would be weak enough for the Shadoans to invade. This is one hell of a way to promote a beautiful message of alien unity and the importance of embracing different cultures. Riniker is the ultimate fascist, trying to divide the different alien races for him to consolidate power. For a kids show, to cover such complexity takes guts. This episode itself didn't even need to be good, because the twist itself is so beyond everything else, but the episode alone is obviously really good. Riniker's plan to allow the aliens to find the bunker, unite, and launch an attack right at the base, giving him the perfect opportunity to blow them all up in one fell swoop, is another moment where Riniker puppeteers everyone with ease. It should come as no surprise that Confrontation is easily the best episode of Roswell Conspiracies.